G'day, Richard Martin here from Advanced Biostructural Correction Australasia, or ABCA, it's just easier. Okay, today I'm here to talk about 4 anterior style adjusting tips that ABC practitioners used to help their anterior style adjusting give the best postural effect we can achieve. Okay, see you in a sec. So most people know ABC practitioners do a lot of anterior style adjusting. The reason we do that is for really great postural impact. So I'm going to give you 4 of the tips we use to make that possible. And I want you to try them out. I know a lot of people use anterior style adjusting in their practice, and these are tips anyone can use irrespective of your technique style. Okay, so number 1, it has to do with our fulcrum fist. You know, we've been taught to snuggle in our spinous process in this crevice here. In doing so, we spread the whole back across our fist and we lose specificity of our contact. And we also require greater force to deliver the adjustment. Try this simple tip. Just bring a thumb across that closed fist, creating some, depending on the shape of your thumb and hand, find a prominent point, a real sticky outy bit, if you will, that the spinous process can be placed against for the adjustment. And you'll find with that greater specificity, you require less force, which is always our goal when adjusting anteriors, because the risk of needing more force is we simply get a lot of P to A pressure from our fulcrum, which defeats the purpose of adjusting spinal anteriors if we're creating them as we're fixing them. That'll be a recurring theme in our couple of minutes together today. Okay, so number 1, get the fulcrum right. Number 2, okay, so here's a bigger change, is for those of you, and I think this would be most people doing anterior spinal adjustments, they're doing them supine. They're seated to supine or some variant on that theme. I'm going to suggest we move from a seated to supine or supine adjustment to a standing adjustment. And there's a few really good reasons for that. But number 1 is this, particularly through that middle thoracic spine, it's almost impossible to roll someone down over your fist and just their body weight, let alone any pressure you place through their body onto the fist. It's almost impossible not to create more anteriors from that pressure into the fulcrum than you're actually fixing in the first place. So again, we don't want this redundant situation where we're creating anteriors as we're fixing them. That's great for immobilization. It's great to get a stuck area moving, but if we want postural effect, if we want things stacked really well, we're going to need to lighten the load a lot. So the way we do this, bear with me, is we now do these spinal adjustments in a standing position. So this is where the patient stands upright but relaxed with their arms wrapped, and they fall forward onto you as you deliver pressure through their chest into your fist. Okay, the specifics of the adjustment we'll teach at the seminars, but those who are competent with anterior spinal adjusting will be able to make that shift and play around with that a little. I'm sure you'll do fine and notice that postural effect that we're after. So number 2, let's try standing for spinal anterior adjusting. Okay, number 3. One of the things I see a lot of the participants at our seminars doing when they're learning anterior style adjustments, or they're showing me how they've always done them, is they do what I call seesawing. Right? Seesawing. If this is the fulcrum and this is the patient's body, they come up and over like they're trying to force this bone backwards. But this is a leverage system, so we don't need to physically press the bone to the wall. Again, too much P to A pressure. So what we're going to do is stay low, come in and press into the fist as they drop, but not up and over the fist like this. Too much A to P pressure, create more problems than you're getting rid of. Okay, so number 4, and this is getting a little bit more technical, but through the interscapular region, T4 to T7 most particularly, we call it the long spinous zone. And that's because the spinous processes themselves are longer and they're more vertically oriented. So they overlap each other more than any other regions. And the clinical significance of that is that when we're placing pressure on one vertebrae, we can be inadvertently placing pressure on a few vertebrae. And when mechanics aren't particularly stable, this can lead to us collapsing or pushing forward regions that we're trying to lift up and back. Okay, again, the point of the anterior spinal adjustment. So the way we get about this is in that T4 to 7 zone, rather than for T4, put your hand on T5, that's, I imagine, what you would normally do, or T6, put your hand on T7. We're just going to say in that T4 to 7 zone, we're going to start the correction with our fist below the scapula. So around T8-ish. And we're going to start it there, and we're going to go through the motion, pushing into the fist, not up and over. We're going to start it there, and if we get the correction we're after, and we recheck and it's fine, awesome, leave it alone. If we didn't, just take ½ centimeter increments up until you do get what you want. Because unfortunately, if you just put your hand between the shoulder blades on a regular basis, you'll have very little postural effect to your anterior style adjustments, because you'll be creating more anteriors than you're correcting. That recurring theme we keep coming back to. Okay, so number 4, avoid fists between the shoulder blades, or in what we call the long spinous zone. So we've got better fist, trying to do some standing style adjusting, not seesawing them back over you to kind of force that bone, and avoiding the long spinous zone by starting below the scapula for that T4 to 7 zone. Okay, try these things out and literally tell me how you go in terms of observing for more up, open chest. That's what we're after when we're adjusting spinal anteriors. I'd love to see you at an ABC seminar if you want to learn more about this skill. In ABC, we adjust from C7 down to L5 using spinal anterior style adjusting, with some nuances obviously to get those trickier areas that you wouldn't have used anteriors for before, but the effect is really powerful. I'd love to show you. Attached to this video, I think is going to be a link to our seminar schedule, and myself and the other instructors throughout this region look forward to working with you. Bye for now.